me? Am I clear well enough? Should I go? Oh, good. Thank you. In this week, we're coming up to an end. I hope you had a fantastic conference. I certainly did. I met Ryan the other day, and he knows that I traveled all the way to Europe to do this. So it's quite a journey, but I loved it. Anyway, it's the last day, which comes with its own good things and bad things. The good thing is it's the last day, nobody listens to you. The bad thing is it's the last day, nobody listens to you. So, but since you all made the effort to come and join me to learn something, it's only my due diligence to give it to you and transmit the knowledge that you are looking for. Okay. Today we're going to take a journey from Business Central through Power Pages. This session, I see most of you, if I'm not mistaken, are customers. I was expecting also some technical people here, to be honest, because the session itself was labeled like that, but it's completely fine. I believe you will, it might even be more valuable for you to understand what are the possibilities. But what I meant to say is that you may, it was intended to be on a bit higher level on the technical side, but we can adapt as the need is. Basic knowledge of Power BC is okay to have, doesn't have to be technical, or Power Pages, either or. But today we'll focus on the real world scenario, how to integrate one with the other, what choices you will have to make, whether it's synchronizing data or using virtual tables, how to keep the external access secure. In the modern day world, everything is prone to some vulnerabilities. We have to pay attention very much on that. And by the end, I hope that all of you will be able to walk out here to have the knowledge even to set up one of these on your own. We'll speak also about the pitfalls and some limitations that it has, one and the other. But yeah, I tend to do my sessions with an interactive approach, so anytime during the session if you want and you have a question, feel free to stop me. Also, if I'm going too fast, that has been feedback in the past. If not, I believe I have left enough time frame again to answer all of your questions, and of course we can continue outside of this room as well. And one last thing, me personally, I'm not so familiar with BC still. I'm only now delving into those waters, but I do know Power Platform and Power Pages quite extensively. So in here in this room, we're a community. If you can answer each other's questions about BC, would be highly appreciated. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's kick things off by stating the business problem. Why such an integration would you even need in the first place? Let's imagine a mid-sized manufacturing company. Customers ask for invoice reports, vendors want the purchase order, partners want the project updates, and without a portal or a website, the company ends up emailing them PDFs, generating Excel, and transferring those documents, or building like one-off reports. There's an issue with this. I mean, in today's day and age where everything is digital and you're expected to find something with as little effort as possible, Business Central is fantastic for internal operations, but it's not built to expose data directly to your external customers or the stakeholders. Customers cannot log in to see an invoice. Vendors cannot track the purchase order, and partners cannot view shared project data. Instead, every request has to go through a funnel, which is one of your employees. That's okay for a handful of requests, but since you scale, it becomes a bottleneck. It slows down engagement, creates frustration, and ultimately it limits the growth. External stakeholders expect self-service. They don't want to wait for somebody just to send them a file which they can obtain on their own. If it's possible to log in and to see and to get the information that they seek, it would be the best. Of Of course, stating again securely and instantly. This is exactly where we have Power Pages. They act as the bridge between the Business Central and the outside world, giving your customers, your vendors, your partners controlled access to the data they need, without compromising on security and performance. What you see here is the basic pipeline. You have Business Central with your internal employees on the left, where all the data resides. Dataverse will be in the middle. It will be the data layer, the connection, and on the right side you have the Power Pages with your customers interacting with it. Business Central, as I said, holds all the data, the invoices, the purchase orders, customer records. Dataverse is the connector and the data service layer. Power Pages is the front door, and it's where your external users can access and interact with the data. The important thing to understand from here is that Power Pages don't talk directly to Business Central. Every transaction and every operation that goes has to go through Dataverse. That's why this setup starts in Business Central, and then we will move on to what is needed to set up in Dataverse, and finally what is needed to set up in Power Pages. So in Business Central, it's like a few clicks. If I just play now, I'm in Business Central. I click on the top right, assisted setup. There will be a window that loads. If I scroll down, there is a section called Connect to your external systems. And inside there is a native connection to Dataverse, how to connect to Dataverse. We get this pop-up, and there are two options. However, these two options make it that it's not that simple, and we'll see why. So, just like Neo in the Matrix, you have the two options, the red pill and the blue pill. Each one takes you down a different path, and what choice we make here will shape how the whole integration with the Power Pages behaves. Let's say we do the red pill, the data synchronization. It means you're synchronizing Business Central data into Dataverse. That gives you the possibility of having Dataverse native records and functionalities, which unlocks the full flexibility of our platform with richer filtering, advanced reporting, and deeper customization. It also supports offline scenario and broader integration. The con here is that it comes with a cost. Now you're duplicating the data that you have in Business Central also in Dataverse. It means that you will need more storage, more synchronous jobs to manage, and potential overhead. The benefit is the flexibility, but you need to plan the operational impact. The blue pill, or the virtual tables in this case, means that you're not copying the data into Dataverse, but you're connecting, you're creating a direction to your Business Central data. That gives you the real-time access without duplications, which makes the setup faster and keeps storage costs low. You don't have to worry about synchronous jobs or managing duplicate records. The trade-offs here, however, are filtering and customizations are more limited, and you will need to manually sync the metadata. If you are changing something in Business Central, you will have to manually sync the metadata in order to be up to date for your future use, and in this case, the Power Pages. So, although this approach is lightweight and efficient, it's best suited for scenarios where you need quick and real-time visibility instead of complex reporting or offline use. It may seem like just a toggle, as you saw, it's like one or the other, but it's more of a strategic decision. When you are starting with this in the very beginning, you have to think ahead and to decide what you want. Do you want the flexibility and the independence of synchronous data, or do you want the simplicity and real-time access to the virtual tables? Each one, as I said, has their own pros and cons, It's more on you how to what fits best for you. And it's very important that you think about this in the very beginning, because the cost of having to rework or start from the beginning will be, of course, much higher. For the purpose of today's session, I have gone with using virtual tables, because I believe it to be more complex. Also, because if I went with the data synchronization, it will be just like building a Power page or provisioning a Power page on top of Dataverse. There are all the functionalities that are for the normal use of Power pages. That's basically it. The Dataverse Business Central data synchronization will happen on its own. It's not related or anything to do with the Power pages. In here, with virtual tables, you have a bit more setup that is needed. You need to, as I said, manage the access and the permissions. So I hope it will be beneficial for all of you. The next step, as I said, so we started in PC, now we have to move to Power Platform and Dataverse. The next step is you need to download the Business Central Virtual Table application from the Microsoft Marketplace. And once it is installed, it exposes the Business Central tables as virtual tables in Dataverse. Again, we don't do duplication of data here, we're just connecting them to be able to access the data itself. Yes?
Correct. Let's say a new table is added or customized by a field, for example, on standard tables. Is this going to pick up all that?
It will pick up it, but it requires a manual refresh. It's just one button. I will show you it later throughout the presentation. Where
so when you first load, it's going to grab all the
everything as it is.
But let's say later on someone had a table later on, then
it is just a one checkbox that you have to do, save the record, and automatically refreshes for that. I was going to mention further down the road, but it's okay to say it now. With the virtual tables, you are basically creating virtual tables for all the tables that you have in Business Central. So the custom ones and the native ones that come with the Business Central itself. There's no limitation that only the core tables that Microsoft gives you are able to be virtualized, while the others no. Everything is being done, and then the fields inside of it also with the API. So this step is critical because the Power Pages, as I mentioned, work with the Dataverse, and they can only surface the data that Dataverse is aware of or understands. By installing the app, you are essentially teaching, in a way, Dataverse how to read the Business Central tables. It's, again, lightweight and efficient, but as it comes right now, it requires manual synchronization still. Maybe in the future Microsoft will change that. Not exactly sure. I haven't checked the roadmap on that, to be honest. But for now, it requires a manual refresh. Otherwise, as I said, your data may be either outdated or it may completely break something from the system. Now I'm going to show you the table itself. It's not the application itself. It's not a very big one.
Can you show, if you don't mind, item table?
Yeah.
So the reason I'm asking is the item table calculated field for the profile in the central by the inventory.
Yep.
Is it being exposed in that? Is it included here or is it not?
Calculated fields that are in Business Central are not mapped here because they don't hold value in Business Central either. They are calculated as you open the record itself. It works the same way in Dataverse for CD, for example. We have calculated and roll-up fields, but those are calculated as the user interacts with them, so that's why they don't actually hold data. You can do the calculation, you can get, again, I mean, the purchase order, then you take the purchase order lines and you do the roll-up on the fly. You will still get the same thing, but not the field itself, what you're asking. So this is the application itself. As I said, it's not very big. You have the Business Central tables as I said, all the tables that you already have in your system will be replicated here, and you can see that in my case there are like 81, and I don't think I have a custom one because this is for demo purposes. I provisioned the new environment. There is table relations. I will speak more about this because it's a very important and a key factor in the next slide. Then you have the configuration, which is basically from where the Business Central, how to connect to the Business Central and how to get the data, which is you basically set up the API, you put an environment name, and which company in Business Central you are connected to. And finally, in the default companies, I just have two companies here that are from Business Central itself. Yes. I can open it if you want.
So any updates to the virtual table gets pushed down?
Yeah, so if I go on the tables themselves, you see this even takes a bit more longer to load. And I open, like customer, for example, let's say. In here, you have the name of the table as it is the logical name, the schema name in BC. You have a display name, which is like a beautified version, the API route, whether it is visible or not. And then in here, you have refresh. So if I click this, I check it and I save the record, it will trigger a call to Business Central to get what is the latest. If there are changes, it might not, there might not be. But this is still available. It's not aware whether it was changed or not.
Is it the schema change refresh or is it data refresh?
Schema. We're talking about the metadata here. Yeah, the data is a live connection. You will always be aware of it. But as you mentioned, if you are adding a field, let's say, or you're changing the type of a field, you will need to change do this in order to have the latest change. And this is a very good discussion that we're having here because this is what is being forgotten most of the time. Because you have people through the project, they are working on BC, they are aware of this, and they leave. New people that come, they are aware that there is a Power Pages integration in Dataverse, but they forgot the moment that this actually needs to happen. So I'm very pleased that we are going deeper on this. As I said, that is the table itself, the application itself, nothing complex. You just configure which API to look in and the company that you have. Synthetic relations or table relations, as they are called in the sitemap itself. I said that I will come back on this because these are very important. They need to be set up correctly. That way we can have and we can make sure that the data that we are exposing to each and every customer is secure. It cannot be that I, Djoko, can access the data of another customer just because somebody set it up like that. Or maybe on the front end it's all fine with the filters and the list, but your API still allows to be worked around and expose the data. The synthetic relations, as they are called, they let you define relationships between Dataverse table that doesn't actually exist in Dataverse. So you might have relationships in Business Central, but because Dataverse is not aware of those, you need to create these synthetic relationships here in order to also work the same way. Or between the two tools. So in Business Central and in Dataverse, you connect the tables itself. I'll show a more concrete example now. So the Power Pages they often need to navigate from like one record to another. From a customer, you need to go to the purchase order, and then from the purchase order to the purchase order lines. And in order to be able to do that, you need to have this all set up. Again, to be secure. You can do it other way, just from the front end, but that's not the way to go. Let me. So this is table of relations, and I have a couple of synthetic relations created here. I'll take the most basic one. It's the account table in CRM, in CE, which is the customer table in BC. So they're not, without this synthetic relation, Dataverse and BC don't know that these two need to be mapping together. So you give a relation name, you choose a native table which is in Dataverse itself, which one is the one to connect to, and then you give a table key. For me, I have set like a Solutionade BC customer key, which is the attribute that I created on the account table in C. This is the attribute that will hold the data which I have for the customer table in BC. So customer table on BC side, account table on CE side, and the attribute that connects them is the BC customer key. The virtual table mentioned here is the one from the BC. Customer V 2.0 is the version that it's using. Those are automatically, like when you generate the virtual table side, I did not create it like that. And in here, if you go to map it, we have the column, as I mentioned, the native column in the C table, which is my new column. It doesn't have to be a new column. You can use one of the existing out-of-the-box fields as long as that's how your data is mapping one to another. But for the sake of the demo, I created one new one. I called it BC customer number. And in the Business Central, the customer table already has a out-of-the-box field called BC number. And this one, so basically, I'm putting the same value on the BC customer number on C side and the BC number on the BC side in order to be able to connect the records. I can give you a better example if we go now in BC, and I have, let's say I have the customer Amazon here, which has the customer number DC0001. If I go now to my contact and I go to the account names match, but as you know, we cannot rely on string value. It has to be something either automatically generated or more unique. In this case, if I now open the account itself, in here I have completely other data that might not be relevant for BC. Just not put it on the form itself. My mistake, I forgot to put it on the form itself, but this is the new field that I created on the account table C in order to be able to map them together and to relate them. So the BC customer number, as you see, is the same field value as it is the customer number on BC side. That way, we are able, with the synthetic relations that I had, it was here, with this mapping, we're able to connect the data. Now, when I log in on the portal as my own account, part of me being part of the Amazon company, I can have access only to the Amazon data. I cannot have access to, I don't know, AWS Plus or something like that. Because now, again, we're speaking, the Power Pages are the external customers. So it's very necessary that the data that they are accessing is very secure and you have no vulnerabilities there whatsoever. Any questions here? Did I go too fast, too slow? Okay. We can come back to the synthetic relations in, later on if there are more questions as we go to the presentation. Okay, so now the Dataverse understands the data. We have the direct connection first with the virtual tables in order to have it, then to make it secure, we build the relationships as we saw. We need to talk about the Power Pages, the part where the external users are actually using, like what are they and how do you build something like that. So Power Pages is a Microsoft platform for building secure and external-facing websites. It's not only intended for internal applications, and it's not intended only for dashboard. It's an actual website where the customers and vendors can log in. You can set up authentication. It can be also anonymous access if there is a need for that. It doesn't have to be logging in, but since we're now speaking in this context, I'm always referring as they need to have a user and be authenticated. Again, Power Pages does not store data. They are taking everything and interacting through with the database itself. So everything that we did so far is key and it matters. With the Power Pages, you get forms, list, authentication, permissions, everything out of the box. It is really just a configuration that is needed, and that's it. You are not building a website or a web application from the ground up. Just like everything else in the 365, it comes more or less ready. You just configure it for your own needs. Okay. The Power Pages gives us two applications or tools. One is the Power Pages management application, and the other one is the Power Pages Design Studio. They are both essential and play into their own role. One controls the data, the security model, while the other one you're building and controlling the user interface there. Let's start first with the Power Pages management application. This is where the technical configuration, as I mentioned, happens. The management application is part of, it sits on top of Dataverse, and it's responsible for exposing Dataverse tables to the portal, or the virtual tables as we have in this scenario. You're defining which tables are available to the site, which forms and views are generated, and which external users can access what. This is also where you configure table permissions, web roles. So maybe you have a customer that, or your customer needs to have access to create a purchase order, but your partner doesn't have to do anything with purchase orders. This is how you control. You set up web roles in order to limit them and give them minimal level of permission for what is it that they need. And of course, authentication providers. You can set up Entra ID. It can be B2B or it can be a B2C as well. You can set up Auth0, other external identity providers, and you can set up even the Power Pages native, like local authentication, but that is not so much used, I would say, from my experience in the real world scenarios. I can now show you more of the application itself. So in here we have the Power Pages management, the application. It's this one. I know a lot of them, but those are all the other stuff. And there are plenty of things that you can do here. There are site settings which control the authentication, bunch of other things, API exposing and so on. Unfortunately, I cannot open that one because it has some values that are not meant to be shared publicly. It's one of the critical tables where you configure something like that. Then you have the forms. For my purpose, I have created a couple of forms on the portal itself. And then as you can see, they can be from the native C tables or from the virtual tables itself. Since the virtual tables support also create and read and even delete operations, you are able to create the forms, not just have tables and views, but also the forms itself. Then the list or the views as we know it. Then there are the table permissions. Here, as you can see, it's controlled again, once again, the access. So you have the native tables and you have the virtual tables and which kind of access you are bound to have, which operations you can perform. So the tool itself supports create, write, delete operations, but you can still fine tune and set it up for your own preference here. It doesn't mean that your users will necessarily must have create operations for something that is not really a need for yourself. There are a lot of things. What I mentioned again, it's like web roles in here, just to filter application here. So you can have administrators, anonymous users, and authenticators users are out of the box web roles. They come as you provision the Power Page. Anonymous users, as I mentioned, you can have those not logged in. And in this case, I have a case user and a finance user as well, which gives me different level of functionality and permissions to be able to do on the Power Page itself. Any questions? Okay. You? Oh. The next application, as I mentioned, is the Power Pages Design Studio. So now you set up all the permissions, the access, the data model, and so everything in that. Here you need to build your website. This is where the visual layer takes place. The pages, the layout, the styling, and all the other components that are part of web development, let's say. You can add forms and lists that are bound to the Dataverse tables. You can customize the layout, the styling, the theme, your logos, brand colors, everything as one would expect from a website. And the Design Studio consumes everything from the management app that we just now looked at. Everything that is configured there, the Design Studio is aware, and you can now, as of recently as it evolves, you can, some of the functionalities you can do directly in the Design Studio, but previously they were kind of separated. Now you can jump between one and set up some things. I think here, as I said, you can like themes and the styles. We will be able to get more into in detail about this. And as of recently being like a year and a half ago, they introduced also a direct access to the code itself in Visual Studio Code Online. Previously, you were able to do it, but you will have to use another application where you download the portal, you will configure them, then you upload it again, and do the sync and so on. Now you can just click on the button. I will show you just in a moment. And you can go to Visual Studio Online and you can configure the raw HTML, the CSS, and the JavaScript directly there. And you can tie it to the GitHub repo, so everything is all ready if you are set up with the whole ALM process of migrating to different environments. Okay, so now we are in Design Studio. As I said, you have the pages on the left side, and then you have here how is it customized on myself. As you see, in the Design Studio itself is not aware of the user, so this will keep spinning forever. But on the portal, we will see that it actually does something. You have the styling pane with the brand colors, with the logos, and everything. As I said, previously you were not able to see the data directly from here. Now they evolved and it's available. The data pane, you can see the data itself. You can see the views that are available, which you can configure and expose to the external customers, and also the forms. This is the case table, which is native, but if I go to the customer table, for example, you will see now this will take more time to load. Actually, it was quite fast, okay? Because this is the Business Central data, so I was expecting it to take a bit more time, but actually it was quite fast. You have the views, as I mentioned. I have, I believe, only one, which is all customers, and then the forms, which is just the generic one. You have the setup, so in here you have go live checklist, site performance. You can have the BWA, server logic, cloud flows. In the past, I would say like a year ago, you were not with the Power Pages. You don't really have like a backend that you have control of. It's not something that you have like a backend application or an API that you can tinker as you would like. So you work with JavaScript and on the front end, and then in the back end it's the database processes that you have or Power Automate flows. So in the past it was very difficult to do something if only needed to happen if a user on the portal triggered something or created a certain thing to activate some process. Now it's available with directly cloud flows. So you are able to create a cloud flow which is taking into consideration the authentication that the user already has, or if it's anonymous users, you set up like a service principal. So it is still secure, because you could use HTTP triggered flows. I don't know how much of you know that, but that was a very big security vulnerability, and many organizations banned using those kind of flows altogether, because anybody that can figure out the URL to be able to trigger and can cause an overhead on the system. And finally, I have the security here. As I said, you can have the identity provided, the site visibility, and much more. It's a fair distance that it was never run. And if we go now to the portal, I have portal Power Page, wherever you want to refer to it, I have developed, so I'm already logged in. It is aware of my context, and I have a couple of functionalities that I built just for the purpose of the demo. I have cases to expose and to show the differentiations and what are the capabilities with working with native tables and what are the capabilities of working with virtual tables. Then I have orders, which are virtual tables coming from BC, invoices, and payments. In here, I just built a quick layer, like overlay, which gives me some KPI numbers about my cases in this scenario. And in here, on my information, again, this is okay, it's fast, but this is the Business Central data, so usually it does take a couple of seconds more to load, but I have some KPIs built to give me information about what is happening on Business Central. So if I now show you cases, which again, cases is a native Dataverse table. The KPIs up top, they're not so important in this scenario. You are able to see here that I can filter the table. So as of recently, because everything is AI these days, they even introduced like filtering with like native language. So show cases where priority is high because it's aware of the data set that I have that there are high cases. But I can also do like a manual search for myself. I don't know, case number. But you see, I can do it like that. You have the option, of course, to create cases, and you have the option to download the data that I'm currently viewing. If I was to filter out origin portal and sort by case number, for example, now this is working, and as you can see, the result set that I was left with is all the cases that are from the portal and that are sorted by the case number. And I can now download this result set as it is. There is I can also have like AI insights. It is applicable to what you're currently viewing. So in the beginning, it's the whole data set. If you filter it down, it narrows it down and gives you an overview of what you have here. Now, if we go to my orders, for example, you will notice that some of these functionalities, as I mentioned, are not supported because we are using virtual tables. As you can see here, I still have the View AI Insights because it is able to interpret and is aware of the data that I have access to. So it's able to generate this kind of report. But I cannot filter the result set myself whatsoever. That's completely not possible to do out of the box. There is a workaround, but it requires custom APIs to be built, and it requires the whole thing basically to be custom developed. Here I'm focusing on what is available out of the box to give you a realistic scenario. And I cannot download the data. So I can create an order, for example, and I'm able to do that, but I cannot download the data because that is once again a functionality available only for the C tables itself. Just create one table, split, and it is here 0062. Here. Right here. So the one that I just now created from the Power page itself is right here. Now this one is a very basic one. I didn't do any kind of order line numbers or other data. I just had one field and so on. But it is possible also that. Another thing that I can show you, like the fields themselves.
So if you are at
Yes. Can you repeat this?
It is possible to go to the order on database screen. No, not. Yeah, in the data and then pick up some items. Yeah. I just want to see how that works.
Yeah. So it is in status job. It is aware of the customer. These are not calculated, and then order lines. So in here I can create like these are like conference table. The price, of course, the price cannot be something that the customer populates. This is just for demo purposes, and I don't know, maybe 1, 3. You can submit this, and it will create it in the on BC itself in the order. But once again, you saw that I was not able to immediately add the order lines, what is in the purchase order itself, directly when I was creating the order. That is another limitation of not being able to do this, because there is a type of forms called advanced forms, where you have steps. In this step, you are submitting some details, then you move on to the next step, and the data that you entered in the previous step, it's already aware and it is being processed, and you can use it. Here, because we're using virtual tables, orders, you can create the order, but because the order still doesn't exist in BC, you don't have the ID of that record. So you're not able to automatically relay the order lines to that order. You have to create the order, as I did, then go and edit the order itself and create order lines. Because then the original order record is saved, you know the ID, and the system knows the order lines that I'm creating to which ID in BC to bound it to. Otherwise, it is not. Again, this is with the virtual tables, it's the limitation out of the box. There is a workaround, but this is out of the box. Because while it is on the fly towards PC, it is like a temporary ID given by the database system. You can catch that and work with it, but again, I'm doing partner with the Microsoft partner. It should be shown as it is out of the box. Hopefully in the future this can change. There were some similar things in the C native tables that were also not functioning like this in the beginning, but then they got updated. They found a workaround. Yes?
So like this ability to write from the page all the way back to BC, is it like, here it's governed and controlled by like, I guess if you remove a create button, you can't add things, but like is there also a permission?
Yes, those are the table permissions that I touched on in here. If we go once, they're here, and so as I said, the tools themselves support them. They are enabled, but in here, sales orders, for example, so sales orders lines, you can see that the access that I have are on the account. So I can only create for Amazon, I cannot create for somebody else in purchase order, and the purchase order line. And in this case, I can like read, write, order set to yes. I can write in this update, create is what you were referring to.
And that's like table level or field level?
Table there. Field level, I don't actually know for virtual tables. There is column there, column level permissions, just like on the C, but I'm not exactly sure. But if you don't have it on the form, you're not able to create it. If you also don't expose your API to support that data, so somebody can create a purchase order through API call, not through the user interface, then you're all good. There is no vulnerability there whatsoever. Just like I had the price. It's not, again, the customer doesn't get the price. You want to go first, or?
Well, if I can, because it's an add-on to this then though, like, you're talking about the permissions then, is that given that it's an internal user, or is that, like, if you're exposing this externally, is it using one account then, because you're mapping that to Dataverse, or how does that work with security if it's an external user?
So everything that I'm doing here is for the external users themselves on our pages. Your employees will still work in BC, and in BC, whatever permissions and how that is figured out, it's separately handled. Here, we are making sure that everything is built securely and with minimal level of permissions for the external customer. Like the gentleman was saying, you want them to maybe create orders, but not each of the fields they are able to submit themselves.
So if I'm thinking back then, what gets written back to DC then in that situation, if I, like, am looking at what user is actually doing that, is that like mapped through one account, or what am I going to see on the BC side, like the audit side of it?
Well, you see that the purchase order has arrived. Okay, opened. Then there is the purchase order line that I did. So there is no contact at the moment, but that is because I don't even have the contact table with permission that I was speaking about in this setup. I have account to customer, account to customer payment, account to sales invoice, but I don't have contact to contacting in BC. If I had that, I would be able to take it. And for example, you can take the email address. Consider the email address as unique. You will be able to be aware and to submit also that details that which is the actual person that submitted the order.
Okay, so maybe ask more. It's like from my side, I'm looking at the audit side, like the security side. What user created it? I'm wondering if it's like identifiable that all of those came through the Power Pages, or how I'm going to look at that from the security side of it.
Okay, it will be something with this kind of a system thing name. I don't know. I said it in the beginning. I'm not a PC, so I don't know how to find the audit history here. But it will be something with the control F1. Control function F1.
Slide down scroll over the bottom.
Oh, okay.
So that's what it has.
Okay, so it does take into consideration the content in.
Okay, that's what I was wondering, if it was using the user account that's creating it essentially, which it looks like it's doing now.
To be honest, this is completely strange to me because even in C, it is with the portal user, with the application user, you are seeing in the audit history. So how do they make it work for PC with the virtual tables, and in C, the native ones, it doesn't work like that? Because that's like one of the constant pet peeves that our customers are also like, okay, we get that they came from the portal. If we have the customer map, we know who created it. But if we don't have the customer filled in, we don't actually know which customer created it, which person. I mean, maybe the organization itself. So, okay, it's interesting, very interesting. Thank you so much.
Give me more to look into, but I think it's what account you're using when you're connecting the Dataverse side. Yeah. Okay, that's what I wanted to see.
Could also be, it's a GUID I cannot able to tell. It's like ending on 4EFA. If I over here, we can check quickly, but I don't think this is me. No, this is not my contact.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be the user.
Yeah, it's with who I set up the integration. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
No worries. We learned something. Sorry. Yes. Sorry.
Just to reset a little bit. So when you go to set up a new user in Power Pages, then you define the customer code, because you show the customer code, the related customer code.
Yep.
So you put that on there, user code, and then each table you define whether you're filtering that row based on that.
Yeah, so that is taken done in the background. You don't configure something like that for each individual user. You're just doing the mapping. Like I'm putting Amazon as my I'm part of the Amazon organization, and Amazon is the data in BC that I need to have permission is the Amazon one with the DC0001 customer number, and then because the table permissions, if I open them again here, are
Unique rules for every type.
you have the access.
At the time.
The access type is account level.
And that's where you're defining the, hey, I gotta filter that table by.
Yeah, so it is aware like that, and it's only giving you up to their account. Or you can even have it more gradually if, I don't know, maybe you're working directly with individuals, you don't work with organizations like I don't know, B2C business. You can have it with the contact, so only for myself, not even the account. Or higher permission roles can have account level permissions, but certain users can have only the permissions to their own data. That is also possible to be achieved. And global is everything. Global is basically whatever there is. That's not something that should be done. For like certain things that are niche, maybe. Like I have here, but not for the critical data that you have and the ones that you are doing the relationship with. Okay. Is there anything else that I missed? So I already spoke about the response not being available through the virtual tables approach, and I think that is it. The payments is a similar story. Again, I have some KPIs here. The AI, as you can see, I don't have filters. I don't have in here. For the payments, I don't even have create button. And I believe payment. As you can see, I have disabled those permissions itself. Doesn't mean that the button is automatically shown on the portal if these are yes, but I not even through an API call somebody is able to create a payment. And again, it's account level.
All those screens, schedule screen, for example.
If I'm speaking about here,
No, if you go back to the pages, yeah. Not my payments before.
Sorry.
How easy or hard to create a new field?
Oh, you can go.
Because part of the customization there might be, I don't know,
Yeah.
a new field.
Yeah. So you go payments. No, actually you go into data. No.
Sales order line.
Okay. That might be the forms and here you can customize this on the CE side as well. It doesn't have to be to the Power Pages Design Studio, but it can also be done through here. And information, a field. These are the
And then
fields.
you could pick up, for example, pick up description. That will tell you exactly.
Yep. So I just need to save and publish. Everything you do, just like in Dynamics on the CE side, you have to save and publish, and you must do a sync. It's still a manual process. You can wait like up to 15 minutes. The servers to refresh and sync themselves. But when you're developing, you're not going to wait 15 minutes. Just do a sync. I just need to wait for this. Okay, so then I sync, but I put it on the payments and okay. I don't have a record and I cannot create the payment. Then we will not be able to.
I thought you added the new field on the sales order.
Ah, okay, sorry.
Yeah, so you could put one of these orders and
Yeah, so in here I must do a hard refresh to clear the cache.
browser cache.
Yeah, the browser cache. It's useful. Sometimes when you're a developer, it's annoying because you have to clean it. But it is to speed things up. It is
Especially if you are just tinkering small changes, it tend to ignore.
Yeah.
With a big change, you tend to pick it up.
Yeah. So we were. What did we work again?
I think I'll work with that. Just need
Okay. And we're getting close on the time as well. If I go description, description, yes, here, yeah, that's fine. Yep. So it is just like that. You drop in field. Yeah. Again, if you create it in BC, first you have to synchronize the virtual table metadata, and then you will have it available to put it on the form. I believe with that I'm at the end of my presentation. Again, I didn't touch on the Visual Studio thing. We went over the limitations quite a lot. Again, biggest thing is the metadata sync when you're working with the virtual tables. No filtering on views for the virtual tables whatsoever, out of the box again. The performance depends on the Business Central API. If your Business Central is slow, the Power Pages will experience slowness. If it's throttling, there will be throttle on the Power Pages.
And how would the way around? If because back in our case, part of the project, they're looking at data was as a source to as a sort of bridge between the Business Central and their in-house built API reports.
Yep.
And
They're still experiencing.
well,
I can tell you personally, of the project that I'm working on, the assets tables has 11 million records. Our C environment, the assets, it's unbearable. Like, it takes minutes to load them. We were using Power Pages. The same was applicable to that. There is just simply the C and at least the C. I don't know about VCNF, but the C and database is still not that mature to handle that much records on a single table. Across the all the tables it can, because our database storage is like 12 terabytes if I'm not mistaken. So all the other tables are fine, but the assets, having 11 million records, it's very big bottleneck.
How are you connecting? Virtually or is it?
No, it's native. It's a native table, and luckily we reduced like 80% of the attributes we're using properties, so they're not attributes on the assets table itself, because that was also causing to be even higher bottleneck. Microsoft is looking into it. We are looking into it. We are doing like data science algorithms to speed things up, but still we're very cute. Here's my contact information. Sorry, I think we have to rush. Thank you so much. Is there any other questions? If not, we can just step outside and discuss them further if you want. I'm happy to connect with each and every one of you for all the questions that may arise. Future down the road, and last thing, if you can please give me feedback, it helps me, it helps the organization. I have also business cards here. If you didn't get to scan, feel free to take one of these. It really is, I really value the feedback and the constructive feedback that I'm getting. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed the conference and have a great day.